Sometimes I feel like I deal with some back and forth emotionally when it comes to this topic. How am I going to be a good mental health therapist if I can't even get myself out of it? And also, before getting into therapy, I was also questioning like if I would actually be a good therapist, because it's like, how are you going to be a mental health therapist and also have mental health issues? So if you are interested in what I have to say and my opinions and feelings on it, please feel free to stay tuned. Hey, okay, so, I have been, not recent, I'm gonna say about 2 years ago, was actually diagnosed with depression and anxiety. Actually when I was at work, because I had a panic attack at work. But to be perfectly honest, I feel like I've probably had depression like my whole entire life. I didn't actually know what it was, and as well as anxiety, and I just didn't know what it was. So because I didn't know what it was, I didn't actually get help. So I always knew that I wanted to help people. I just didn't know how. But I'm gonna say probably, I'm gonna say like my junior year in high school, I decided I wanted to be a therapist. When I was in high school, I had some issues with my parents, and I did end up going to a therapist or a counselor with my school, but she was very unhelpful to me. There was no empathy, no sympathy. Like, it was just like, I'm here, this is my job, what's wrong with you? So I ended up stopped going, and I think because of the experience, I told myself, like, I know I'm going through things, and she's not helpful, so I want to be the person who is going to be helpful to someone else. So that's what made me like stay on a path in terms of being a therapist and doing therapy and things like that. So when I graduated, I went to school. I went to Lock Haven University. When I got there, I started doing my majors and everything was good. I graduated. I now have a master's in professional counseling, and I absolutely love it. Now I can say that, like, when getting my master's, it was a struggle. Like, I struggled with a lot of anxiety and depression because it was hard managing working full-time as well as like doing schoolwork. So I found myself like somewhat like a tug of war of trying to figure out like how to deal with my depression and still do an internship, still work full-time, still come home and do homework. I can say the majority of the time what was helpful were my friends, because even though when my depression hit, like, I didn't want to go out, I didn't really talk to them, like they would call and yell at me for like isolating, and they'd try to get me out of the house, so that was really helpful. But even now, like, I've been doing therapy and working with people with mental illnesses for about 5 years now, and to be perfectly honest, like, I still struggle with trying to figure out how to deal with being a mental health therapist and telling people and advising people to do certain things, as well as like dealing with my own depression. I can say that I also, like, a lot of things that I like talk to my members or clients about, I do on my own. So that is very, very helpful. I am 100% honest with my clients. I let all my clients know that I've also been diagnosed. I was taking medication. And I know sometimes it seems like, oh, well, how are you going to help me when you're dealing with your own stuff? And I always feel like, in all reality, it's a give and take thing. So like, I learn from my members, I learn from my clients, as well as like I teach them. And I'm actually okay with that sort of relationship. I don't necessarily go into it saying like, hey, what can you teach me? But I do realize that at the end of the day, there is a strong connection, because like, you are now talking to someone who goes through the same things that you go through. Now, I don't just work with people with depression and anxiety. I work with depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenia, like all of that. But just knowing that I too have a mental illness can be very helpful for clients. I feel like their therapists are viewed as like perfect people. Like, you know, you were able to go to college, you were able to get a degree, you're able to focus. Like, clearly, you're like, your life is perfect. And it's like, no, I'm still human. I still go through things. I still get happy. I still get sad. I still get angry. I still get frustrated. I cry. Like, you know, I I live with my anxiety and depression every single day. And, you know, I had to come to terms with that in order to be the best therapist that I can be. So for anybody who is, you know, trying to figure out, like, can I be a therapist while dealing with these things? Yes, you can. It's just about what your thoughts are. Like, some of the things that my clients tell me that they do, I see if it works for me. Like, if I feel like the coping skills that I'm using aren't working, you know, I let them know, hey, what works for me. Also, I believe that because I'm like totally honest with what I go through, that's very helpful to me. Like, I can tell my friends, like, hey, I've been really depressed. I really need to leave the house. Or like, something is wrong. I'm noticing that I'm doing things I usually don't do. I think I'm getting depressed, so I'm feeling depressed. Because also, in all reality, sometimes you don't know when depression is going to hit. And that's one of the things I had to learn. I had to learn that, like, okay, I don't know when it's going to hit, but I can see, like, patterns. Like, for example, I'm not, like, the neatest person ever, but when my room gets a certain way and I find myself, like, just struggling, just picking up something or just putting something in the hamper, something is wrong. So, like, for example, like, my room could be clean, but if I walk in and just take off my clothes and, like, throw them on the floor, like, in front of the laundry bin, I know that something is wrong. I have learned to let people in on what's going on so they can point out things as well. So, for example, I feel like my parents had kind of a rough time when I told them that I was, like, experiencing a lot of anxiety and depression and things like that. But they were also willing to learn, okay, what the hell does that mean? Like, what does that mean for you? What does that mean for me? Is it something I'm doing? Things of that nature. And there's been a few times that, like, I've been feeling, like, really, really tired or sluggish or, like, not even lazy, but just, like, I don't have the motivation to do the things I'm supposed to do or the things that I do every day. And my mom had said, like, hey, how are you feeling? Like, are you feeling depressed? Are you feeling anxious? Like, what's going on? And sometimes I have to think, like, maybe I am. Like, I had a stressful week, or like someone made me sad, or like I've been thinking about this. And so it's about learning your triggers and also like being honest with your loved ones, because at the end of the day, they are your support. And I know that some people don't have a lot of support out there, but also, like, when it comes to depression, sometimes you have support and you don't see it or you don't utilize it. And it's like, it can be really bad. It can be really harmful. I've lost a lot of friends because of it, because of them not understanding, and also because, you know, of me not sharing. Like, there's a point where you have to take accountability. Like, yes, I lost friends because they don't understand. They don't understand what depression is or anxiety is and what it does to me. But also, I never shared it. You know, like, I never said, like, hey, this is what's going on and this is what it does to me. Depression isn't just about being sad and being locked in a dark room. There's way more to depression. And, you know, I think it's not necessarily, like, I feel like nowadays it's more talked about, but there's not much of like an understanding of what it means or what it can mean and how it can affect people, because it affects people totally different. Like, I have members who are depressed who get angry. I have members who are depressed who like feel comfort and like feeling needed, so then they do, you know, things that maybe they shouldn't be doing, but it's because that they're depressed. So it just literally depends on the person and the people's experiences and the traumas that they have. Like, at the end of the day, as a human being, we do stuff for a reason, right? So like, we go through things and it impacts our views on people, our views on situations. Just like, hey, you're in a relationship and your significant other cheats, and you find out he was cheating because, you know, he had unsaved numbers and he was texting them. Well, guess what? The next person you're in a relationship with, if you see them texting an unsaved number, your thought pattern is going to go straight to, I don't know if I can trust him. He's probably cheating. Why? Because of the experiences that we've had. Now, that could be different for everybody, and that's the exact same way with mental illness. Exact same way. It's just different for everybody. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it on up. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for allowing me to be vulnerable and, like, you know, sharing what it's like as a therapist to have a mental illness. And like I said, to anybody out there who wants to be a therapist or who are dealing with their own stuff, you are able to do it. And if you feel like you need help, just go get help. You know, just use the resources that you are able to use. And please like and subscribe. And I will see you guys later. Thank you. Mwah. Bye. You see the fleet, all the new things. Cop cars with the loose chain.